A very good afternoon and welcome to the Global AI on Tour Pune 2020. Let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Yash Kamdar and I work as a cloud infrastructure consultant for Rapid Circle, who is a gold partner with Microsoft for the past 6 years. I work on a product called Muhimbi as a Muhimbi consultant, who is an international provider of a server based PDF conversion technology. The topic that we are going to discuss today is Microsoft Cognitive Services big picture with Power Platform. We have documented all the demos that we are going to show today. So four of them on our blog sites. So the links to that you will find it in the PPT. So if someone wants to go ahead and make their hands wet around the demos, I would encourage them to do so. So, without giving away too much, I think I'll now pass over to Clavin, who will be showing you a demo on text analytics. Post which I will be showing the Lewis and the Vision API, and we will end with the content moderator thing. So, over to you, Clavin.
Okay, thank you, Yash. Can everyone see my screen? Is it visible?
Yes,
Nandeep, Siddharth.
yes,
Yes.
Perfect. So my name is Clavin and I work as a technical consultant for Rapid Circle and I'm also the technical support manager for Mohimbi. Okay, so I have worked around all BPM platforms. You can call Nintex, K2, you can name them that I have worked with. I basically go ahead and like to work with no code solutions and basically empower the business users. And finally, I share my knowledge on my blog post out here. It's there, and you can connect to me on the various handles that are displayed on your screen. So, first, what is the agenda for today? The agenda for today is I will introduce you to the cognitive services. We'll follow it up with the text analytics API, Lewis, the Vision API, and finally the content moderator API. All the demos for today will be tightly integrated with the Power Platform, be it Power Automate or Power Apps. So before I go ahead and introduce you to the cognitive services, we need to know one term, that is artificial intelligence. So what is artificial intelligence? So artificial intelligence involves machines that can perform tasks related to the human brain. So you can think of machines that can go ahead and take decisions as well as learn new things. And those machines are called artificial intelligent machines. So now that we know what is artificial intelligence, we need to know another term, that is machine learning. So what is machine learning? So machine learning is again a field of computer science that gives computers the ability to take decision without being explicitly programmed. We do not need to go ahead and program the machine, the computer or your program in such a way that it can take decision. So basically, learning leverages two main concepts. One is the algorithm and second is the data. So to get insights from the data, we need algorithm. Machine learning uses algorithms such as artificial neural networks, deep learning, and Bayesian networks, etc. Okay. But one thing out here, do I need to know machine learning and artificial intelligence to go ahead and use cognitive services? The answer is no. Basically, the data is prepared by Microsoft and the algorithm is given as a service to us. And everything coming into the cognitive services are just REST endpoints. We just need to leverage them and we need to use them in our application. So cognitive services are further divided into five main categories. We'll start with the decision API, then vision, speech, search, and language. So decision basically means taking decisions. Is the image racy? Is the image adult? That comes into the content moderator. Vision API, detecting faces. You have seen often that Facebook itself will request you to tag someone person. So that is done by the face API. And then the speech API, converting text to speech or vice versa. Search API, going to the internet and getting top 10 news from the internet. That can be done with the search API. Language API, getting insights from your text using text analytics. And Lewis as well as to build powerful applications. So you see content moderator API is shared between the language and the decision. So most of the APIs go hand in hand. So let's start with the text analytics API. So text analytics API are broadly classified into three things. Okay, it returns us three things. I'll not go ahead and read through the slides, but I'll go through the Azure portal directly. and type in Azure Text Analytics. So on this page, we can go ahead and find a tool which Microsoft has built in. So I'm just going to type some text and I'll click on Analyze. In the right side, you see that it is returning us sentiments, key phrases, and language. So what is a sentiment? A sentiment is said to be positive, negative, or neutral. So what our customer wants or how is a customer feeling is a sentiment. Now, key phrases is what a customer wants. So I know that the food is good, but what is good? The food is good, right? So the key phrase is important. So the sentiment and key phrases go hand in hand. Finally, the language. It detected English because I have typed it in English. So next, I'll go ahead and show you how we can provision a text analytics service on Azure Portal. So I can just go to the Azure Portal, click on Create Resource. Under AI and Machine Learning, you'll find Text Analytics. Now, if you don't find a service such as Lewis out here, you can just type in Language Understanding and you can just create one. So I'll again click on Create, AI and Machine Learning, and then Text Analytics. So creating a service is very easy. You give it a name, you give it a subscription, you select the location of your choice, and then you can check out the pricing tier. So it is broadly classified into two main parts. One is the free subscription and one is the standard subscription. I'm not going to go ahead and explain you the pricing because it might change from time to time. But you can always refer this link and you can look at the pricing tier. Finally, one thing I want to show you, you can only create one free subscription per subscription of Azure. Okay, so text analytics, one subscription, free subscription per Azure subscription. You see this, that's why this is grayed out. And you might already be guessing that I have a subscription ready for you. So you can just give it a resource name and click on create. I'm not going to create one. I already have it ready out here. So on this pane, the first thing I want you to see is the key and endpoints. So I'll quickly open my notepad and I'll copy in one of the keys. I'll copy in the note. I'll then go ahead and copy the endpoint. And finally, the next thing that I always start with is the quick starts. Okay, quick starts gives you a launcher. It's like a launcher. If you don't know something, go to the quick starts and it will help you understand the concept behind anything. So basically, you can say that there are various code samples out here. But as a power user, I'm not interested in code sample. What am I interested in? It's the API console. So API console, as I told you previously, these are just REST endpoints. And what is the method? The method is post. So there are 4 methods out here which I can go ahead and use, 4 endpoints. For this demo, let's go ahead and see the sentiment endpoint. Okay. So to go ahead and use the sentiment endpoint, I need a request URL. I need to go ahead and pass a content type. I need to pass in a subscription key, which I already have in the notepad. In the body, I need to pass in 3 things. One is the language, the ID. The ID should be unique. Then the text that you need to go ahead and analyze. So I don't want to go ahead and type in and create a request. What I can do as a power user to go ahead and use it, I can use the curl sample in Postman. So those who are new to Postman, Postman is a tool used for testing APIs. So on the previous screen, I just copied this. I'll just go ahead and click on import. I'll click on raw text and here I can just pass in this. But before I pass in this, I'll go ahead and go back to my notepad. I'll just change the endpoint real quick. Then I'll pass in the subscription key. I don't need the show stats because it's not going to be a long document. Just copy it, paste it in, click on continue, click on import. This is how easy it is to go ahead and use a sample in Postman. You see that Postman has automatically selected the method post. The headers are automatically populated. The subscription key is put in. So now next, what do we need? We need a body to be parsed. So we can just copy this body, go to the body section, click on raw. You see that it's automatically selected as JSON. That is what I need. I go ahead and remove this. I'll just analyze one line of text out here. And I'll click on send. So you see, I have got a response. And if you read the string out here, hello world, this is some input that I allow. This is a positive sentiment with 0.98. So closer to 1, it's a positive. Near to 0, it's negative. So now why did I show you Postman? The first thing, some endpoints might not be reachable using a connector. So basically what we can do, we can use an HTTP trigger to go ahead and use an endpoint or to query an endpoint. If you look at the HTTP trigger and when you compare it with Postman, you'll see that the headers as well as the URL and the methods, they look almost the same, right? It's like the Postman. And if you look out here, I'm going to go ahead and use the text analytics and detect the language. What did I type in here? I typed in bonjour le monde. So if you cannot see my screen, I'll just zoom in. This is bonjour le monde. So you might go ahead and already be guessing what particular language it is, but we will not answer it. Let the text analytics answer it for us. Okay, we'll just wait for a second. And it gave me a response. And what is the language out here? It is French, right? It is French. So now that we have got our heads wrapped around the concept of text analytics, what are key phrases, what are sentiments, and what is language detection, let's go ahead and use it in our Power Apps. So let's go ahead and see how we can add the connector first in Power Apps. So I click on the data, and here I can just type in text analytics. I'll select text analytics and click on add connection. At the right corner, you can see that I can add the account key and the URL. It is the same that is out here. This is the URL and this is the URL, not the entire one. This is the URL, and then you can go ahead and pass in the API key. Now to go ahead and show you the power of text analytics, let me quickly add a label. Let me quickly add a text input and let me quickly add a button. So on the button, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a set. So I'm going to set a variable A, and that variable will go ahead and I can hear myself. So somebody is, so text analytics dot, what should we use? We'll use detect sentiments. Okay, we'll use detect sentiments v2. And you see IntelliSense is our friend. I can go ahead and go pass in the language, en, then go ahead and follow it with the text we need to analyze. So where does the text come from? It comes from text input 1. You see, this is already highlighted in green, dot text. So I'll close it. I'll add a dot. What I need to return is the score. Once I return the score, I'll close the bracket. So give me a minute. Text input 1 dot text. Yeah, I did not go ahead and close the curly bracket. So my bad. Now I can go ahead and close this bracket and voila, the formula does not have any errors. Now on the label, I'll set the text as A, that is returned by our text endpoint. Now I'll click on play. I'll type in something like the food is good. And then I'll click on button. So you can see that the ants are marching up here. And finally, in some time, you should see that I get a response with a positive sentiment of 0.98. Now, in the text analytics, it's all about numbers, right? So what you can do to create an interactive app, what I did to create an interactive app, I created an app something like this. So I'll quickly show you how the app works first. I'll again go ahead and type in the food is good. And I'll click on check mode. Based on logic, it goes ahead and displays an emoji, which is happy face because it's a positive sentiment, and it gave me the key phrase that is good. So if I type in the food is bad, it goes ahead and gives me a sad emoji, and it tells me why am I sad? Because the food is not good. So again, I'll clear my notepad. I'll go ahead and show you how the formula works. Okay, so on the button, I go ahead and use detect sentiments. I pass in the language and the input from the text box and store it in the happiness index. Then I just use an if operator and check if the happiness index is greater than zero point 0.7. If it's zero point 0.7, I go ahead and set display the smiling emoji, that is this, or else I go ahead and just display the sad emoji. And for the key phrases, I just collect the key phrases and push it into a collection. So this is how easy it is to develop an app using text analytics service. Okay, so you can use this app in various scenarios. You can go ahead and use this to check the mood of your employees or perhaps just provide feedbacks. The next demo that I want to show you is related to Power Automate. Let's go ahead and think that we send feedbacks to our customers and they go ahead and reply to it. So it's a single line feedback. Please provide feedback, okay? And I'll just type in the food is good and I click on submit. So once it's submitted, I'll just go here. So this is it. I'll just refresh it. So about 6 seconds ago, my flow has already been completed. So what do I do in the flow? I get the feedback from the text analytics. Okay, I get the feedback from the form and then I go ahead and parse the responses. Now, these are the two connectors that I use and these are the two main connectors that we are going to focus on. So what do I pass to the text? I pass in the feedback. The feedback is stored in which column or which row? Please provide your feedback. So that is what I'm going to pass it as a text. As I told you earlier, you need to pass in a GUID. The GUID has to be unique. So how do I create a GUID? It's very simple. I click on the expression tab, I type in GUID and two brackets and hit OK. That's how I create a GUID. I select the language from the drop down. This applies for both key phrases and detect sentiments. Once I go ahead and get the output, I go ahead and pass the output and create a new item out here. Now you see that there are two loops out here because the output is of a type array. That's why you see the loops. But if you want to get rid of the loops, there are ways to do that. But for the purpose of this demo, I thought of keeping it simple. And finally, I write the list item to a SharePoint list. And what is it? The title is actually the responder's email. The analyzed feedback is the score, and the text feedback text is the actual text that is sent by the customer and then the key phrases. So if I go back here and if I see, you see that I have gone ahead and an item is created 1 minute ago. And you see I have decorated it with some column formatting. And this is again a no code solution. So this is pretty much it when it comes to text analytics. And I hope that you have got a basic understanding of how to use it in your Power Apps and in your Power Automate, as well as how to mimic the service in Postman and use it as an HTTP request. I'll hand the torch over to Yash. He's going to explain you some interesting concepts and how to integrate Lewis in your application. Over to you, Yash.
Thank you, Clavin. That was a good deep dive around the Lewis. So that brings us to the second demo, which is Lewis. So now to explain how Lewis works and how to build an intelligent Lewis service, I'm going to go ahead and create a story. So first, let's go ahead with the definition. So Lewis is a cloud service which is designed to identify valuable information from inside the conversations using a prediction model. And then this prediction model is driven by machine learning. Very simple definition, okay? Now, a Lewis is made up of three interim parts. One is the intent, one is utterances, and one is the prediction and score. So now let me take you back to my Lewis.ai console where you will be able to see how we go ahead and design an intelligent application. So I'll first tell you what an intent is. Intent is basically your end goal or the task that you want to achieve using your intelligent service. Now let's say you are teaching a baby words like good morning, good evening, good afternoon, etc., etc., etc. So what is your intent behind teaching the baby these words? You're actually going to teach the baby how to greet, right? So greet becomes an intent. Now, as you can see, I have three intents over here, which is sales, ticket online, and ticket on premise. Don't worry about why I have kept the intents this, because now I'm going to tell you the actual story around which we will be designing this intelligent service. So using Lewis, what we are going to do is we are going to create an automated support desk system. So let's say you have a common mailbox where an email gets dropped in from anyone. Lewis is going to read the body of that email and he's going to categorize that email to a particular team channel. Perfect. Okay, so let's take a look at one of the sample intents that I have created. By the way, if you want to go ahead and create an intent, it's pretty simple. Just choose the intents option from the left navigation, click on create and type in test intent and click on done. That's it. It's that simple. So let me take you to the ticket on premise intent that I have already created and kept. Now you can see I have some examples put in here, which is the next part. So the second part is utterances. Now utterances is a fancy word, so sometimes it seems like it's very complex to understand. Let's completely replace utterances with examples. So earlier when I told that I was teaching a baby to greet, I had to first pass in examples to the baby, right? Like good morning, good evening, thank you, welcome, etc. So these become your examples. Now for a service to know or to do something in an intelligent way, he has to first understand the natural language, right? So we are just going to go ahead and drop in examples of what our Lewis is going to expect as an input. Let's say SharePoint is an on-premise product. Just hit on enter, and Lewis will now take this example and memorize it. Now, while memorizing, it will also break these statements and extract keywords out of it. So the keywords will be on-premise, applications, environment, errors, center administration, etc., etc. So this works in a key pair. Lewis will identify that this is an ticket on-premise intent, and the keywords for that are on-premise, web frontends, center administration, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so you understand how this works. Lewis understands the intent and the key phrases that are associated with those intents. Now, the final thing is prediction and scores. Now, why they are important? So, suppose I have 10 intents and I just drop an input to my Lewis application. So, what Lewis does is it scores all of these intents and then determines the top scoring intent. So, how does it do that? For that, let's take an example. Let's say someone goes ahead and drops this particular part. So we'll just click on test. Okay, this is a test console and I'm just dropping it. As you can see in this example test, I have certain words like logs, errors, um, center administration, PowerShell, WSP, etc., etc., all of which are on-premise intents. Okay. Now you'll see when I hit enter, Lewis will be correctly able to judge which intent it belongs to. You see, ticket on-premise. If I click on inspect, you will see that the top scoring intent is ticket on-premise because it is 87% confident that this belongs to the on-premise intent. Okay. Now let me take you to one video, short video that I have prepared so that you get a picture of what exactly we are going to do. So as I said, let's say we have a common mailbox and someone just drops in an email to that common mailbox. So the person types in, the email goes to the common support mailbox. Okay, we have already deployed our Lewis application. We have trained it with the utterances, that is the examples, so that it understands the body of the email. We have also pre-designed 3 intents, that is the on-prem, online, and sales. Now Lewis, what he will do, he'll compare these utterances with the intents and create a prediction model, and accordingly will generate scores. So it takes some time for Lewis to understand that. It's in progress and the score should be up anytime soon now. Okay, so here are the scores. So 97% for on-prem team, 82% for online, and 33% for sales team. Now Lewis will also judge the top scoring intent, which is clearly the on-premise team because it has a 97% confidence. So he will just tick it. Okay, that's done. Now Lewis will pick that email up and assign it to our Teams channels. So I have also created three Teams channels: on-prem team, online team, and sales team. The email just goes in and gets dropped in the on-prem team. Perfect. So this is what we are going to do. No need for you to buy licenses of support desks or ticketing tools. You can create your own small support desk system. Okay. So let me go ahead and drop an email. So I have already kept an email ready, and ykamdar@muhimbisupport.onmicrosoft.com is my common mailbox. Okay, I'm just clicking on send so that the email gets sent, and we will await the email over here. You can see in the on-premise nothing is popped up. Ah, you can see that the email was automatically dropped in my on-premise Teams channel, right? So email just came in, and in just 1 second, Luis was able to run the entire Power Automate solution and assign the corresponding email to the correct Teams channel. So let's take a look at how this actually works. Okay, I'll just go back and I'll just click on all runs, take up the latest run because yeah, 35 seconds ago. Now how this works, okay, pretty simple, and you will understand in just a minute. Luis has one action created in the Power Automate called get prediction. So what get prediction does is it grabs the body of the email, and it is up to you what you want to pass. You can also pass the subject, you can also pass the username, anything based on the logic that you want to define. I have just passed in the message body. It has taken the message body, and then what it does, let's take a look at the outputs. So yeah, it goes ahead and creates an intents array. So as I told you, it is going to rate and it is going to score each of those intents, correct? So you can see on the ticket on premise, it has given a score of 93%. For ticket online, it has given a score of 68%. And for none, which is the default intent, it is given a score of just 1%. For the sales also, it is just given a score of 1%. Now it has also grabbed the keywords and saved it in the entities, as I told you, because it memorizes those keywords as well. And on the basis of this percentage, he has given a top scoring intent, which is ticket on premise. Next, what I do, because this is a JSON, I need to pass the JSON. So I have just passed it. And then I have created a variable called correct intent where I am just populating the correct intent. Then I have a switch case. So switch case is having different cases where I have given entities like ticket online, ticket on premise. So I just need to match this expression result with the right case. In this case, it was ticket on premise. So it has successfully executed the case number 3. And then it has assigned the email to this team channel. So you see, based on the logic, you can do anything. So right now we are short on time. Otherwise, I would have showed you one another thing where I am just grabbing the attachment from an email, converting it to PDF, and passing it along to someone. So yeah, this will be in my blog post. You can totally look it over there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next part, which is custom vision. Okay, so I think custom vision, a bit of it was already covered in the session before, but I'm going to go one step ahead and going to do this with Power Apps. But first, let's understand how a custom vision works. So custom vision expects certain parameters when it goes ahead and tries to recognize or analyze an image. There are different things inside custom vision like analyze image, describe image, predict the objects in the image. For now, we are going to analyze the image. So what are the exact parameters that a custom vision service expects? These are them: tags, descriptions, color types, image types, face is adults, and categories. So whenever you pass a image to a custom vision, it is going to give outputs for each of these parameters. Okay, now this is my general architecture. First, I'll let you know the story behind why we are going to drive this via Power Apps and Power Automate. So there are insurance companies and there are insurance agents who need to go ahead and take snips of the site, because before passing in a loan or before passing in an insurance, they need to go ahead and take images. Then they take that images, they go to the insurance office, dump those images or whatever data it is with the desktop guy who sits behind a computer, and then he goes ahead and manually takes those images and inputs it in the system. But now what we are going to do is we are going to design a power apps that is totally operatable over a mobile application. You just click a snip and that's it. The Power Automate will totally take that snip, analyze that image, put it into your system, and based on your logic, you can do anything with it. Okay. So I have a camera and I have an image gallery where my image is going to sit in. I have a submit button which is going to drive my Power Automate solution. I have an HTTP request. So this HTTP request will ultimately call my Azure Cognitive Services custom vision that is hosted. Then it will pass it to my vision. Vision will analyze that text. He will give me an identified or recognized text out of that image, and then we are going to upload that image and the property in SharePoint. That's it. That's all what we are going to do. So let me quickly take you to the demo, post which I will explain you the interim parts. Just a minute. Uh, I think, yeah, I have the Power App ready. So, okay. You can see I have a remote alongside me. I'm just taking a snip of it and I'm clicking the button. Now this should put my flow in motion. I'm just clicking on back to see if the run has started. Okay, it's running. That's a good thing. And in the image recog library, we will be seeing an image shortly along with the recognized text. So let's go back and take a look at the run history. Let's refresh this page and let's refresh this as well. Lovely. So see, it has correctly recognized the text that a hand holding a remote control. And here my image is also created. The site is loading, but I'll show you that image in a while. But you can see how fast it was. It was so pretty damn fast that it was able to recognize the attributes and it was able to give out as an output the recognized text. So you can understand how powerful this particular bit is. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the flow so that I can explain you the interim parts. It is a very simple flow. Uh, and again, my HTTP request, which is the endpoint that I called, is going to give as an output different parameters. Let me quickly take this on a notepad so it becomes visible in a better way. I have clicked on create. Okay, so let me expand this. Oops. Okay. So as you can see, I already told you that there are certain parameters against which the smart uh, custom vision is going to give out parameters. Okay, so the parameters are tags for which it has given certain things. Next is the description for which it has given certain outputs. Now we are interested in this particular property, captions, which holds the text property, because right now we are doing analyze slash describe image, correct? It is 81% confident. Again, this is a JSON. So we will just go ahead and parse this. And then I'll just click on edit and it should be up in a minute. Okay. So you can see I'm trying to grab the captions property, and out of the captions property, I'm trying to grab the output text, which is the text property. And then I'm just going ahead and updating it along with my image in SharePoint. So this is how it works. And I would encourage you to go ahead and try it out, because this is a very compact solution that sits in with any platform, not just the Power Platform. You can totally do this via C Sharp. You can totally do this by going ahead and creating an API using Postman and calling that API. So that's it. Let's now take a look at another interesting session which Clavin is going to take ahead, and that is called Content Moderator. Over to you, Clavin.
You, Yash. And first of all, apologies. There was a bit of delay in what Yash was showing, and there was some background noise because Yash lost power at his place and had to go to the terrace. So apologies for that. And now let me go ahead and start with the content moderator. Am I audible first of all, and is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes,
Go
Kevin.
ahead.
Perfect.
If
So
you can, Kevin, minimize the, yeah, right.
Yeah, perfect. So, what is content moderator? Content moderator is used to detect offensive contents or unwanted images or filtering out profanity from text or undesirable text. So, basically, you can think of content moderator as an approval. What needs to be approved? If the image is racy, we should not approve it. If the image is adult, we do not need to approve it. Same goes with text moderation. It goes ahead and scans the text and it removes the profanity or the words which are not intended to be or unwanted words from the sentence. Then comes video moderation. The video moderation, basically, as you already think, it moderates the video. And finally, it also has a human review tool. So computers and humans work together. That means if there is something that computer spits out or gives out a score which is somewhere around 60%, you might want to have a person review it. Okay, I'm not going to, there are no further slides, so I'll go ahead and quickly share, go to the Azure portal. So this is the content moderator service. So as usual, so we need to get hold of the key. I'll copy the key and then I'll go ahead and copy the endpoint. So this is it pretty much to go ahead and use the service. I click on Quick Start. As usual, you'll have the SDKs and the documentation, and finally the API reference. So this is the one that I'm interested in. So if you see out here, it is broadly classified, as I told you, image, text, video, and list moderation. Let's start with text moderation. So I'll click on it. And you see there are two endpoints. So out here, I can select the location of my choice. And here you see what does a text moderator API do? It goes ahead and autocorrects text. It goes ahead and returns us PII information. So for those who don't know what is PII information, is personally identifiable things like email or address, etc. Then it goes ahead and matches the text with some predefined text. We'll not use that. It classifies the text into various categories. We'll discuss on that once we have the output. And then it goes ahead and we need to pass in, it goes ahead and detects the language as well. To use this, I just need to go ahead and pass in the API key. So I'll go ahead and put in here. And finally, this is the text that we are going to analyze. So this is a crap email with an email address, phone number, IP address, and the address of a person. And I click on send. I get a 200 response, okay, and here you see. What does it return? It returns the original text. It returns the normalized text. It returns the auto-corrected text. It also goes ahead and returns us PII information. Now, you don't want your email to be posted on a public forum just like that, or your personal phone number to be posted on a public forum. Using text moderator, you can go ahead and moderate text and go ahead and stop it from getting posted on public forums. As simple as that. You don't want to post your residential address on public forum, right? Now comes the categories. The categories are mainly classified into three main types. Refers to so the first category would be it refers to presence of language that may be considered as sexual. Okay, the language, the sentence that we analyzed is no way sexual. So that's why it's giving me a score of 0.04. So secondly, it can be the category 2 is said to be suggestively sexual, not straight away, but suggestively sexual. So the score is low. So again, not pretty much suggestively sexual as well. Then category 3, considered to be offensive in certain situations. That is what it is. So if you provide your email address, your phone number, and your IP address, somebody can use it against you, right? So that is why it is categorized in category number 3. It detects the language and it goes ahead and detects the profane terms. So in our sentence, the unwanted term was what? Crap. We do not need to use these terms while sending out an email, right? We can just lighten the situation and do it. So this is pretty much it when it comes to the text analytics API. Now I'll go ahead and show you a real life demo which I came across regarding the content moderator API. So I'll start off with a story. So I went to a picnic and I went ahead with friends before the COVID situation. I went ahead and clicked few pictures. I told my friends also to go ahead and upload their pictures into a folder. They uploaded few pictures, and now my mom calls me and tells me, Clavin, I want to go ahead and see your pictures. I want to see your photo album. And I'm like, okay. I cannot send her all the pictures because some of the pictures might be racy at times. So what I do is that I was really busy. So what I did, I went ahead and created a quick flow to go ahead and moderate images and remove out the racy images from it. Smart, right? In this demo, we have only 4 pictures and you can already guess which picture is racy. So I'll just quickly run the flow and show you how it works. So run and done. So first, I went ahead and triggered the flow manually. You can trigger it based on something known as when you say, okay, not manually when a file is created. And then, but I use the manual flow. So first, I go ahead and list all the files. So in this case, you will have 4 items in the body. Then I go ahead and initialize an array variable. The array variable is something that I'm going to use in the merge action. But before that, the most important thing is going to be the content moderator, or you can say the image moderator API that comes into picture. So what do? I get the file content and I pass the file content in. I go ahead and check if the image is racy. In the condition, I check. If the image is racy, do nothing. If the image is not racy, go ahead and append it to an array. Now, the first image is coming up with a racy score of 0.99, and it is also classified as racy. So this is not good. I don't want to send this pic to my mom. I go ahead and skip that pic, or content moderator does it automatically for me. I click on next, and if you see, the next pic is 0.04, so it's not racy. It goes ahead and automatically appends it to an array. Then finally, I go ahead and pass the array variable to the merge action and create a file in SharePoint. So I go back to my SharePoint and I'll go ahead and show you the photo album. So let me refresh. SharePoint can be a bit laggy at times. I'll click on it. And here you go. You already see that I have 3 images and the racy image is automatically being excluded. So this is the power of content moderator API. Without a person, I went ahead and we can moderate thousands and thousands of images and go ahead and just create photo albums or just classify the images as racy and non-racy in your organization. And with this, I think we'll conclude this session. So basically, what we covered in this session, we went a bit quick because we wanted to cover almost all the topics. We wanted to touch on all the topics. But don't worry, if you want to get your feet wet with the demos, we have already documented it. So this is the final merge thing that I went ahead and showed you. This is the content moderator blog. Then comes the text analytics blog. And then comes a very interesting blog, which Yash went ahead and demoed. Basically, I think this is the most powerful thing when it comes to Lewis, because you go ahead and create CRM workflows which can manage your customers' email and categorize them automatically within seconds. That's very powerful. And finally, I can say that we also went ahead and recognized images, tagged them properly. So just imagine, without seeing the images, we went ahead and classified them. This is so very powerful. And one thing to note, I have not written even a single line of code to go ahead and do these things. Okay, I've just used bare bone power platforms, some basic concepts, and that is pretty much it. I hope the session was informative to you guys, and I will go ahead and launch my presentation again because I want to say thank you to everyone. Wrong slide, but because I want to say thank you to everyone, especially Nandeep, Siddhartha, and other organizers for giving us the opportunity to talk and share the knowledge out here. So we are open for Q&A right now. Any questions, go ahead and unmute yourself and you can shoot it at us. Thank you.